welcome. Welcome to the show. I'm Jim Kellner, of course, your host, certified clinical hypnotherapist. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about hypnosis. I don't do this every show because this show is not just about hypnosis. It's really more about just trying to be successful in whatever you want to be, using a variety of techniques. This week I had scheduled to interview Patty Vasconez, also a certified clinical hypnotherapist who works in the same office as I do down here at North Mountain Cardio in Phoenix, Arizona. However, due to some scheduling difficulties, she wasn't able to join me, so I will be interviewing her later this week. And in fact, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, please feel free to email those to me. You can look at the links in the show notes section, or go to my website, jimkellner.com. That's Kellner, N as in Nancy, of course. Just go over there, jimkellner.com, and shoot me over an email, your questions for myself or for Patty. She's also a Zumba instructor, an avid practicer. I don't know if that's how you'd say it, but anyway, she does yoga, I think, every single day. Bikram, the hot stuff. And she's got a variety of qualifications, skills, and been doing hypnotherapy for quite a long time. And before that was involved in helping people make change through some other techniques as well. And so today I'm going to talk instead, instead of interviewing, I'm going to be talking about some of the myths of hypnosis, because there are a lot, believe me. And the first thing I'd just like to say, the great thing about being a hypnotist is pretty much everyone you tell you're a hypnotherapist, they're fascinated from the beginning. I mean, it's a great conversation starter. Somebody says, "What do you do for a living?" "I'm a hypnotherapist." Wow. And so that's great. Usually, though, the next question is, does it work? In fact, I met someone recently, and she leaned in close, and she said, in a kind of a conspiratory type way, "Tell me the truth. Does it really work?" Well, here's the thing, folks. Of course it works. I've used it myself. Many of my clients have used it. In fact, check out my website. You'll see some testimonials from folks who have used it to lose weight, quit smoking, get over fear of flying. So really a lot of stuff. Even as simple as just reducing stress, anxiety. So it absolutely works. I'll tell you, it's to me, it's always like asking, because here's the thing, way back, really hypnosis has been around for thousands and thousands of years. We didn't necessarily call it that because it wasn't until the physician Braid, Scottish physician, Dr. Braid, coined the term hypnosis back in 17 or 1800s. Before we actually started calling it hypnosis, but before that it was used anyway. In fact, I saw one report, and I'm not sure if I should have checked this fact before I even started talking about it, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. But apparently, the Egyptians would use hypnosis to induce sleep, and they would use a spoked wheel in front of a candle to get kind of a strobe effect, which enhance the experience. And for those of you who have used hypnosis, there are these machines that will, you wear some big funky Terminator-looking sunglasses, and embedded within the actual sunglass there are some lights, and they make these different designs and patterns, and it's really helping to stimulate your brain waves to go down to a slower frequency. And really that's just what hypnosis is. It's just taking your brain waves down to a slower pace, and in that place, that's where you're more susceptible to suggestions, because that's really all hypnosis is getting you, helping you. I can't say, sometimes people will call me a hypnotist, hypnotherapist, and yes, that's my title, but really, I'm a facilitator. Because here's the thing, if I look at someone and say, relax, close your eyes, focus on your breathing, and they don't want to do it, they don't have to do it, right? And I can't compel them to do it, and so they're not actually going to enter the state that is appropriate for hypnosis to happen. So I'm really a hypnosis facilitator. But anyway, so you get your brain waves down into that place, and then and then someone, your hypnotherapist is going to um, feed you some suggestions depending on what you want to get in life. And we have several different ways of feeding those to you, giving those to you, and that's going to depend on your personality type. So when people ask me, does hypnosis work? It's backed up by so much science now. Several hundred years ago, maybe it wasn't backed up by science, but now we have research studies. A lot of major universities do studies on hypnosis. Stanford studies hypnosis, and so there's really a lot of research to back it up now. So it's kind of like saying, does physical therapy work? Does cognitive behavioral therapy work? You know, all these different things. And I'll tell you, here's the thing with hypnosis. One of the problems is it doesn't work the same for everyone. Just like not everyone's going to respond the same to physical therapy, um, or say cognitive behavioral therapy, or even medications. Um, we all respond differently to different things. And so, speaking of medications, I mean, some people have great success using maybe a statin. And I won't go into the debate. I know there's a debate going on whether they're good for you or bad for you or whatever. I'm not going to address that fact, but I'm just going to say that some people, when they take statins, their cholesterol goes down. Some people, it doesn't have as great an effect, and some people, it's even harmful for them. It starts some breakdown of the muscle tissue. And the great thing about hypnosis, there really aren't any terrible side effects. We're not gonna break your mind or anything like that. The worst that would happen is maybe you'd fall asleep, or you just wouldn't get hypnotized. And that's the other thing too is, people will sometimes think that hypnosis is this kind of a zombie-like state. And it really isn't. In fact, for most people, being hypnotized just feels like being relaxed. And that's one of the problems, because people oftentimes, in fact, I would say most people after a hypnosis session, they're kind of asking themselves, and maybe even the therapist, was I really hypnotized? And there are certain ways for us to tell if you're kind of in that state. I mean, there's some twitching of the eyes and maybe movements of the body, and the breathing rate and stuff. And if we hooked you up with some technology, we might be able to check your brain waves. The thing is mostly, like I say, it really just feels like being relaxed. And so oftentimes people will say, well, I wasn't hypnotized. Okay, well, when were you hypnotized before? I might say, if I was being snarky, and they go, well, I've never been hypnotized. So my point here is you don't know what being hypnotized feels like. So it's hard to judge whether you were or not. What they're really saying is it doesn't feel like I thought it was going to feel. And now every once in a while, I don't even say every once in a while, but some people will have a very, we'll call it a deep experience where they kind of zone out. They get into a really kind of a different state of mind. And they're the people that really do feel like they were, quote, hypnotized. And but for many of us, it just feels like you're relaxed, and that's okay. Now, when we get into some of the myths of hypnosis, one of the common misconceptions is that the hypnotist will be able to control your mind. And this is especially can be perpetrated through stage hypnosis shows. And when I do stage hypnosis shows, it can seem like I am making people do things, like they're puppets on strings. And it's just not true, though. Because again, if someone doesn't want to be hypnotized, they won't be. And in fact, if you watch a stage hypnosis show, what you'll find is I or the other stage hypnotist will invite a whole bunch of people up to the stage. And guess what? Not all of them get to stay. And all that really means is that they weren't able to get in the right state of mind. They weren't able to focus their attention at that moment. Now, even myself, I don't even know that I really would let go enough to be hypnotized on stage. I've never actually done it, believe it or not. And there are just some of us that just aren't really able to. And for others of us, it's really like just at that time, that certain, for whatever reason, that moment in time just didn't work. Because I've actually had plenty of clients come in and go, well, they tried to hypnotize me at a show once and I couldn't be hypnotized. That's not necessarily true. What it means is you weren't able to experience hypnosis right then in that environment. It's a little bit different when we, have you sit back in the big recliner, you put your feet up, cover up with a blanket, get comfortable, and also the hypnotist actually has some time to ask you some questions, get to know you, and kind of find out, how your mind sort of processes information, because that's a big part of hypnosis. You know, um, a lot of times, in fact, there have been studies that'll show like, a certain percentage of the population is not hypnotizable. And the reason that they find that is because when they're doing this study, what they do is they have the hypnotist use an induction, which is the very first part of a hypnosis session, which is designed to kind of help you to experience the hypnosis, to get into that relaxed state, relaxed yet, really hyper-focused state. They use the same one on everyone. So, of course, the problem with that is, that technique is going to work great for one person, but it's not going to work for someone else. That other person may need a different, induction. And so that's why, you know, we might say that, I think probably most everyone can experience hypnosis because, again, it's just this sort of a zoned out kind of a place, a relaxed place. And in fact, Justin Tran's a very famous hypnotist, said a while back, he said something on Facebook. Uh, Great. Can't remember exactly what it was now, but it was something along the line of everyone can be hypnotized. For some people, it just takes a little bit longer, and that's really all it is. In fact, with my clients, I'll actually have them start off listening, and even if they feel like, oh, nothing's really happening, fine, no problem. Keep listening, because that's really the key, is you keep listening, because every time you use hypnosis, you're getting better at it. So keep listening repeatedly, and eventually you just get better. You just start taking in the suggestions. And the other part of this problem is why people sometimes think it doesn't work is, they don't you don't always have everything doesn't hit at once. For instance, if I'm working with a weight loss client, a lot of times right away they're drinking more water. That's one of the key things we try to encourage in weight loss. Right away they're drinking more water, but maybe they just don't feel like exercising yet. They're not compelled to exercise. Well, that just means for whatever reason, their other than conscious mind hasn't really taken in that suggestion yet. So you got to give it time. In fact, I've had clients that honestly, boy, a month or two goes by and they don't really notice a whole lot happening, and then bam, all of a sudden, it just comes together. And some of it really is how we approach the person as a hypnotist. So they come in one time and we use one technique, and then we get some feedback on how that worked, and we're going to try another one, and we're going to keep doing it, just like your doctor is going to prescribe different medications, just like a exercise physiologist might recommend different exercises. We're going to keep refining our techniques until we find what works for you. So, I got a little bit off target there, sorry, but so basically, no, I can't control you, even though it does seem like it. In fact, watch a stage hypnosis show, and you'll see that even the people that stay up on stage that actually are in hypnosis, well, number one, there's sort of a phenomenon where many of the people are going to come out of the hypnosis a little bit, or at least go into a lighter state, and then they go back in. It's sort of like a wave, and you'll kind of see this when you're watching a show. At times, someone you can kind of tell there's something a little different about them, and then at other times they seem like they're kind of back to their normal reality, their normal consciousness. And then the other part is, what? Watch a show too. In fact, I remember watching a show, a while back, another stage hypnotist, and these two women were given a suggestion to, I believe, sing like opera singers. And for whatever reason, they didn't. They had responded to all the other suggestions, played along, everything went well, except for that one. And so, sometimes it's our fault as the hypnotist. Maybe we didn't make the suggestion, the command clear enough. It could be too that they didn't understand exactly what we wanted, and sometimes it's just the fact that the hypnotist or the person that's in hypnosis, just for whatever reason, they don't want to do it. I even talked to a friend who had been on stage and even watched the video of him, and it's actually a client that I've worked with who got over a fear of flying. And you can watch the video and you can see participates for a lot of it, and there's just some things just didn't do. So that's kind of the way it works. So there's at no point during hypnosis that you'll lose control of your mind. If the hypnotist were to say something like, and I mean, really, it's kind of a, it's kind of good and bad because some clients would love it if I could just tell them never to eat pizza again, and they just never would eat pizza again, or that they, just love exercise. It, Unfortunately, you just don't accept all the suggestions all the time, at least for many of us. Some people do. Some people are um, kind of amazing at being hypnotized and they accept everything all at once and they're just off and running. Now, here's another myth. People sometimes are afraid that they'll be made to perform sort of embarrassing acts, like, that they have to bark like a dog or walk like a duck. You know what? This is this is really in the. In fact, I've had like a hypnotherapy clients come in and they go, "You're not going to make me bark like a dog, are you?" And my response is, "Well, what purpose would that serve therapeutically?" I mean, is that going to help you to lose weight or quit drinking or get over the pain that you're feeling? No, of course not. So why would I do that? There's absolutely no reason to do that. And no, we don't take bribes from your spouse to make you cook dinner every night or to bark like a dog on a certain word. No, we don't do that. We are professionals, and in many states we actually have to register with the departments of health. I'm in fact hold a license in the state of Washington. Arizona here doesn't have any kind of legal requirements to practice hypnosis or hypnotherapy. So we are, we're professionals. We're not going to make you do anything that number one you don't want to do and that would embarrass you. And even coming up on stage, again, if someone would be really embarrassed, they just won't do it. So that's the way it works. Another myth is that hypnosis is somehow, boy, I don't even know how to say this, but supernatural. Is some form of black magic, or maybe the devil is involved, or something like this. It's anti-God, and nothing could be further from the truth. It really, again, and I think that misconception comes from the fact that people think that the hypnotist can control their mind. And in fact, there was a movie. There's an old movie called Svengali, which I actually just recently got to watch because the doctor here at Dr. Sutherland here at North Mountain Cardio had it on DVD, and I watched it. And it's entertaining, but it really illustrates, this dark side of hypnosis that was sort of believed way back, and still some people still believe it's true because it can seem like, when I have someone on stage and I tell them they're Madonna and they dance around and sing like Madonna, it can seem like I'm making them do it. But no, I don't have that much control in this situation. I make a suggestion, the person either does it or doesn't. In fact, I had one time, I've had a couple of times, the person just didn't respond to that one for whatever reason. Maybe didn't know Madonna's song, didn't want to do that, and then they do all the other stuff though. So who knows? There is, as I said, hypnosis is a completely natural state. In fact, one of the things that we'll tell you that you'll often hear is if you've ever driven down the freeway and you missed your exit because you were kind of zoned out, you were actually in the same state that hypnosis happens in. Ladies, if you ever try to talk to your husband while he's watching sports on TV, well, that's marriage and hypnosis. We get kind of zoned in, focused in on this one thing, um, what am I trying to say here? Hyper focused, and we just kind of block everything else out. So, as again, it has been researched by science. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a palm reader. I'm not a magician, a wizard, anything like that. And, please, I encourage you to look up the research. Sometimes I've had clients that were just terrified they were going to be listening to their hypnosis and fall asleep and never wake up. That just doesn't happen. It's a completely natural state. Literally been no, even though it was popularized in the um, in some movies, it just doesn't happen. You the worst that would happen is you would fall asleep and you would sleep for as long as your body felt was necessary or until you got disturbed, and then you would wake up. So there's really no chance of getting stuck in hypnosis. In fact, there was the movie, was it Office Space? I think might have been Office Space, where the hypnotist dies during the session, um, and the guy's kind of stuck in hypnosis. It just doesn't happen. It just won't. And another myth is that hypnosis is sort of some kind of a miracle. Again, this is one of the things that holds a lot of us back from using hypnosis. In fact, I talked a little bit about this in episode number 1, and this is, of course, episode number 2. I should have announced that at the beginning. Shoot. We have this feeling that if everything doesn't change with that one session, then the hypnosis didn't work. And for instance, if I listen to hypnosis or I go to a hypnotist and the hypnotist says exercise daily and never eat pizza again, and lo and behold, the next day I'm sitting on the couch eating pizza, that means the hypnosis didn't work. Not true at all. What it means is that you just didn't accept that particular suggestion yet. And that's really the key. It's yet. You keep listening, and what's probably, for a lot of people, what happens is you sort of end up, you start to listen to that little voice in your head. Or you start listening to the little voice that I create in your head. A lot of people tell me they can hear me talking to them. And I know the feeling because I listen to hypnosis, well, pretty much every day. And I get that, things like, nothing tastes as good as thin feels, those kind of things going through, which, by the way, I'll tell you, before I started this journey, when I was, my whole life, when I heard people say that, I wanted to smack them. Believe me, I was like, you just haven't had the right, pizza or the right pie. And you do find out that eventually, feeling better about yourself and feeling better, more energetic and all that, it really is better than any food. And so really, I just really just want to tell you, please, if you don't notice results right away, that's okay. Keep listening. In fact, I've had clients that for whatever reason they just stopped listening and they're like, well, yeah, the hypnosis didn't work so well. Well, it's not the hypnosis didn't work. It's that you didn't keep listening. It's like trying to take your cholesterol medicine for a week. It's probably not going to be that effective. You might notice there might be a little bit of a dip in your cholesterol, but it's not going to be huge. So please continue listening to your hypnosis. And of course, if you want to try hypnosis, go to my website, jimkellner.com. I have a free download you can listen to. It's called Relax Now, and it'll really help you to de-stress, relax your body. And all you have to do is sign up for my newsletter, and I'll send you a link to download that for free. Now, some people will, the other thing that clients will sometimes say to me, another myth is that I'm going to make them tell me all of their deep, dark secrets. Folks, I don't want to know your deep, dark secrets. I don't think any of us want to know your deep, dark secrets. And again, here's a situation where we can't make you do anything or tell us anything that you don't really want to. And again, what purpose would it serve? We're not working with the NSA or the CIA or anything. They can't even be used in a court testimony. It's certainly not an alternative to lie detector tests. So, I can't make anyone, force anyone to tell me anything that they don't want to tell me, and they don't need to. Some people after hypnosis, they'll go, well, I remember everything that you said, so I wasn't hypnotized. Some people don't remember, and that's okay. And some people do. It just doesn't matter. I've had people that have both experiences. I've had some clients that seem to zone out immediately, and they don't remember anything for any of their sessions. Coming in 6, 8, 9 times and never remember a session beyond take a few deep breaths and just relax. I've had other clients that remember every single thing every single time, and they get the same results. So please just try and put that aside. It just doesn't matter. Now, some people may think that hypnotherapy is a kind of a substitute for therapy, for seeing a psychologist or something. And while we certainly can treat a lot of issues, we can help you to put the past behind you, treat PTSD, anxiety, phobias, all of that. If you really need psychotherapy, it's not necessarily a substitute for it. I will tell you one of the things is maybe both is appropriate, because what can happen in some psychotherapy, not all, but you end up kind of rehashing old problems, old events, traumas from the past, and talking about them, rehearsing them basically in your mind. And with hypnosis, we don't necessarily even have to know what happened to you, what you went through. We can just guide you to put it behind you, to lock it up, to sort of not think about it as much. Sometimes people want to never think about a certain person or an event again. And for some people they can do that. Mostly it's putting it behind you and not caring so much about it. So certainly not a substitute. Now, one of my favorites is people that say that they can't be hypnotized because they're just too strong-willed, they're too disciplined. This is it's completely inaccurate. In fact, really, someone who's very disciplined and really mentally strong is probably going to do a little bit better in hypnosis, because let's face it, if I give them suggestions in hypnosis to relax, if they're very disciplined, they're going to relax, right? If I give them a suggestion to exercise more, they're going to exercise more. And you can also use that same mental strength, that discipline, to focus your attention a little more so than somebody who's maybe not. Really, mostly the research kind of indicates that the only people that can't be hypnotized are people that are really low on the intelligence scale, and we're talking really down into the scientifically defined moron state, retarded state. I mean, really, anyone with a normal intelligence can utilize hypnosis. And I got to tell you, I think even people that are maybe mentally handicapped can use it too. The only issue that I've ran into is actually, I did work with someone who had a brain injury, and the only issue that we really had, because he was noticing changes when I talked to him. He's telling me these things that are different than when he came in. One of the problems was getting him to recognize the changes and to commit to continuing to listen, because he just didn't have the attention span, and I think the desire for long-term results that would have really helped him make big changes. But he did notice while he was coming to see me, he had quite a number of changes. I was really excited about it, because I wasn't really sure how effective it would be. And so there's some of the myths of hypnosis. Please, if you have other questions about hypnosis, I encourage you to email me, Facebook me, whatever. I hope to even do a call-in show, live call-in show here in the very near future. And so I just want to thank you for listening today. It's been fun. I do want to remind the Pacific Northwest that I will be up in your area. I'll be up there the 2nd and 3rd of May out at McCormick Woods in Bremerton. I'll be at Tacoma Comedy Club on May 5th. I look forward to seeing you, and I appreciate you listening. My name is Jim Kellner, and be well. Be awesome. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, everyone. One last thing. I just got word from Tacoma Comedy Club that for my stage hypnosis show, comedy stage hypnosis show, there on May 4th, they're giving me some free tickets to give out. So if you're in the Seattle-Tacoma area or know someone who is, shoot me an email over at my website, jimkellner.com. That's KELLNER.com, and I will put you on the guest list. You plus up to 3 other people. All right, take care. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.